Disclaimer. While we do create family content, this video is not for consumers under the age of 13. If you are under the age of 13, click away now. Interstellar mystery and exploration are the words that we find best describe The Outer Wilds. The Outer Wilds is a game that caught us by surprise. We watched the trailer for the game and we thought that The Outer Wilds was going to be some kind of space survival sim, but it's the exact opposite, and what we got was much better. This is Obi from Obi Sobi Gaming, and today we will be taking a look and doing a review of The Outer Wilds. For the best audio, we recommend that you use a headset or headphones while watching. So anyway, like we said before, we went into this title blind. We didn't do any research on the internet or search YouTube. The only thing we did was watch the trailer, and we decided that it was good enough to make us want to check it out. But while the trailer did not tell us what we were going to be playing, it didn't deny our original conclusion of what the game was going to be about. So anyway, turns out The Outer Wilds is a mystery game built around a solar system. And like most of our other reviews, we'll be looking at gameplay, visual design, and sound quality. Hey guys, if you haven't done it already, consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell to be the first to see our weekly content that we upload every Friday. Let's start with gameplay. If you're looking for intense shootouts with space pirates, or gathering components to upgrade your ship, you came to the wrong place. The Outer Wilds is a game about exploration. There is no combat, no upgrades to collect, your ship and stats don't get better over time. Now with that being said, I want you to remember what I just said in that last sentence. There is no combat, no upgrades to collect, your ship and stats don't get better over time. We'll come back to that later. The Outer Wilds is definitely not for everyone, and for those that do play through, will be left with a rewarding sense of accomplishment. This title is not difficult in the normal sense that you would expect from a video game. You will need to think outside the box if you want to progress through this interesting title. Let's push forward. Now, in order to explain the gameplay in detail, we're going to tell you a story of what happened to us during our first hour of gameplay. The Outer Worlds has you start on the rocky planet of Timber Hearth. Your character wakes up in a gasp, searching for air. Timber Hearth is the home to a race of aliens known as the Hearthians, and these Hearthians are also the non-playable NPCs that you will interact with during this title. After waking, you speak to the first person you see, and you find out that it's launch day, whatever that means. It tells you that you will need to make your way to the observatory in order to get the launch codes. You push forward, looking for the observatory, following a series of signs that show you the way. While here, you get a chance to talk to the locals and find out that today, the launch day, meaning that you are the newest member of the Outer Wilds Venture Company, and today is the launch of your first trip to outer space. Now, while Timber Hearth is the beginning of the narrative, it also acts like a tutorial system, allowing you to familiarize yourself with flying the ship and moving in zero-G situations. You make your way to the observatory, and while you're there, you get the launch codes. But there is also a small museum that you can gather some information about the game and the world and lore. Before you leave the observatory, a strange statue turns towards you and images flash before your eyes, giving you a small clue of what is to come and what has already passed. Now, on this planet, we spent about 15 to 20 minutes just messing around before it was time to launch into space. We made our way to the launch pad, climbed into our ship, grabbed a spacesuit, strapped ourselves into the pilot's chair. The next thing we knew, we were blasting off into space. The game didn't tell us where we needed to go, or maybe we just missed it, but after getting a feeling for space and gaining our space legs, we decided to head to Timber Hearth's personal celestial satellite, the moon. It didn't take us but a few seconds to reach the moon, and once we figured out how to land, we headed to the first bit of man-made light we could find. The gentleman that we found here told us that if we used the signal scope, we could hear music coming from the other planets and interstellar bodies skirted around the solar system. Using this clue, we pulled out our signal scope and pointed it at the other planets, and sure enough, it was true. You could hear music coming from other planetary bodies that were floating around in the night sky. Using this information, it was time to head out and explore the rest of the solar system. Now, the reason why we told you this story is to explain that in order to play the Outer Wilds, you will need to listen to what other people are saying. Small conversations may point you in the right direction, especially in early parts of the game. As you progress, you will pick up other clues of what you need to do next and where to go. Now, the reason I told you to remember that statement from earlier in the video was,
There is no combat.
no upgrades to collect, your shipping stats don't get better over time. Because once you launch from Timberhearth, you will have everything you need to complete the game except for the knowledge of how to finish it. Again, you will not get any new ship upgrades or equipment, nor will you level up. Now, pushing forward, after playing the game for about 22 minutes, something will happen. A large blue flash of light will consume the player's field of view, and the next thing you know, you're waking up gasping for air just like you did at the beginning of the game. Hey guys, quick interruption. If you have yet to do so, please hit that like button. It helps us reach a broader audience and we really appreciate it. Confused about what just happened, if you're like me, you'll head to the launch pad. But along the way, you'll be stopped by an NPC, and he will tell you to get the launch codes again. What? Now this is where the narrative starts to get interesting. You already have the launch codes, but the other NPC does not remember you getting them. Anyway, you push forward, and after about 22 minutes, the same cycle repeats. Blue flash, then gasp of air, then you're back on Timberhearth. Well, in case you're like us and did not see what happened, we'll explain what's going on. Every 22 minutes, the sun will collapse on itself and then explode in a bright blue supernova. And at this point is where you'll figure out that the game is on a 22-minute time loop. Your job is to find out why you were on this time loop and stop the sun from going supernova and destroying everything. Now, the reason why we're telling you this is to illustrate how the game works. Have you ever played The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask? If you have, then you will know that you need to finish the game before the end of the third day in the game cycle. All of the residents of Termina are on a schedule and do things at specific times on specific days, right? Well, the same goes for the Outer Wilds. The planets, however, are the residents and will have certain patterns that follow during that 22-minute life cycle. Let's take a look at Brittle Hollow, for example. From the outside, it looks like an ordinary rocky planet, but if you pay attention, you will see an entrance to the core of the planet. The core is a miniature black hole that is devouring the planet from the inside. While this may seem like a bad thing for the planet, it's helpful to you. That is, as long as you don't fall into the black hole like we did. The point that we're trying to make is that even though the planet is falling apart, it will unlock previously inaccessible parts of the planet that you may now enter and explore. This is not the only planet that has something to do with time either, but we will leave that to you to figure out on your own. The entire game is one giant puzzle. You may find a clue that leads you to another planet, and while most of these puzzles are not hard, you may miss something that will have you walking in circles before a light bulb pops over your head and you finally realize where you need to go. You really need to pay attention while playing this game. Everything you see, while it might not stand out, could be a clue or open a path of where to go next. Eventually, you will find your way to the eye of the universe, but that's an adventure for you to figure out. Something else that is great about the Outer Wilds is how you create your own stories. The game is based in somewhat true physics, and at one point, we damaged the hull to our ship. We needed to exit the ship to make repairs, so that's exactly what we did. After making the repairs and returning to the cockpit, we realized that we were being pulled into the sun by its gravitational force, and then we kind of panicked before hastily making our exit. Now, while we had fun with this title, like we said earlier, this game is not for everyone. Let's move on to visuals. When starting the game, the visuals may not pop out to you as something new or cutting edge. Most of the opening planet's visuals are pretty boring, and this goes for most of the land masses in the game. The NPCs are interesting enough to look at, but the overall design is lacking something. It honestly reminds us of Sea of Thieves, kind of cartoony, but overall still pleasing to look at. As far as the visuals go, you can tell that the developers were not trying to go for something super detailed, and to be honest, it might be distracting when trying to figure out some of the various puzzles in the game has to offer. With that being said, once you're in space, it's completely different. There is a sheer beauty to the solar system, and that may be just because we're cosmic nerds who love to watch anything space related. While the visuals are not bad, we do feel the game does need a slight facelift in this department. Let's talk sound design. Moving away from the slightly disappointing visuals, the sound design is absolutely perfect. The ambient sounds when exploring the planets could not be better. From the crickets singing on Temper Hearth to the gusting winds of Giant's Deep, we could not ask for better sound design. To be honest, it's going to be hard to explain in words. You really have to check this one out. But let's try to explain. Like we mentioned a moment ago, at some point you will come across a planet called Giant's Deep. Upon reaching this gas-like planet, you'll be hesitant to pass through the atmosphere as you cannot visually see through it. But if you're like us, you will find yourself flying through the dense fog and hurtling down, crashing into a giant ocean. Now, just going from the silence of space to the loud, cumbersome hurricane-like atmosphere, then plunging into the depths of the ocean was terrifying. But without the right audio to back it up, all of the emotion that we got from this would have been lost. But again, the sound is really hard to explain and you really have to hear it for yourself. But when it comes down to the musical side of the game, it's quite different. The composer, Andrew Verlo, did a fantastic job. And what's funny is you will hear the overall same music track, played in different ways, but it captures the moment perfectly. Music as a whole is supposed to inspire an emotional response from the listener. That's what makes us love music. Even just sitting on the title screen and listening to the first track brings so many emotions behind it. You start out listening, thinking of a pioneer exploring and making new discoveries. Then comes the loneliness and isolation of space, but at the same time you feel as if you're sitting around a campfire and eating marshmallows, sharing stories with your family. It's insane how many emotions you can get out of one simple piece of music. Well guys, as this video comes to an end, we want to remind you that this title is not for everyone. Some people may pick up this game for a couple hours, mess around in space and put the game away, while others might become obsessed with the story and really push to find out how to save everyone and figure out how it all ends. Now we want to know, does this game sound interesting to you? Would this be a title that you would purchase? If so, let us know down in the comments below. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, don't forget to leave us a like as it helps us grow our community and reach a broader audience, and we really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to be the first to see our weekly content that we upload every Friday. You can also follow us on Twitter by clicking the link in the description below. Until next time, this is Obi signing out. See you guys next time.